Here, so it's a wonderful turnout. Thank you for coming. Michelle Stilwell was hoping to be here, and she may show up a little bit later as our MLA and multiple gold medal winning Paralympian. I'm also pleased to see some of our council, our Qualicum Beach Councillor Adam Walker here today. Thanks, Adam, for coming, as well as Marilyn Wilson from Parksville. So thanks, it's really great to have our town and cities represented here to support these accessibility initiatives. Okay, so thank you all for coming to our Fitness for All fundraising campaign today. This is our final celebration day of Accessibility Week in Oceanside. I just came from the Qualicum Beach Memorial Golf Course accessibility celebration, and just wanted to mention that Diane Jorgensen and Hamish Cochran, which are members of our group, that deserve a big thanks in organizing that event. And they're not able to be here right now, but just wanted to acknowledge them. It's also Access Awareness Day in Canada today. And June 2nd is our National Fitness Day. So everything's tying together really nicely. I'm going to begin with some introductions. I'm going to follow by a bit of history of this project that we're doing, and then acknowledging the people and organizations that have contributed very generously to kickstart this campaign. I will then welcome Jim Miller, the owner of Jim's Gym, to take the stage. And then after Jim, we'll have our campaign chairperson and poster girl, Diana Lamont, tell her story. Hey, Diana. And then we'll have an equipment demonstration, and this is the piece of equipment that is coming our way. We've just borrowed this from Trillium Lodge. Our piece didn't arrive in time, unfortunately, but Mike Domes was a physiotherapist there and was so kind to lend us this for a demo today. After that, you can have a tour of the facilities and the accessible equipment demos that are in the main gym with Jim and Kit, and their lovely staff. And at any point in time, we welcome you to visit our investment table over here if you'd like to make a contribution towards our accessible equipment wish list. And there's the different pieces of equipment are on the table here. You can see them. There's a video that you'll get to see of Diana dancing in this, the Bungee Mobility Trainer, and the table on the very end here is where you can make your donations. We are a non-profit organization, but we do not have charitable status at this moment, so we're unable to issue charitable tax receipts at this time. So really, your contribution is an investment in the health and well-being for all bodies in our community. So, as I said, I'm Holly, and I'm an occupational therapist in Qualicum Beach, and I serve surrounding areas. I'm also the co-chair of a volunteer organization called Universal Access Qualicum Beach. And my co-chair over here is Darwin Fraser. Darwin, in the white hat over there. And my former co-chair is Jack Orange, who's in the turquoise back here. So I'm really happy to have both of you guys here today. I'd also like to just say, so Universal Access Qualicum Beach, we're a table or a committee of the organization called CUES, which is Qualicum Community Education over there, and Wellness Society. That's our, and I just wanted to acknowledge that Bill Preston is here today. He's actually one of the co-chairs. He's been the chair for a long time, and now we have a new co-chair. So there's Bill over there. Huge hand to Bill. And Ann Skipsey over here is our other co-chair. So we have worked in collaboration with Sandra Hobson. Where'd you go, Sandra? Sandra's over here. And she is the chair of Access Oceanside Association in Parksville. and her team is all around the room as well today, so we'll be acknowledging everyone a little bit later. So basically, over the past 2.5 years, we have been working all together, those sort of 3 organizations, to see this dream blossom into a reality. What I would like to acknowledge right now is that historic legislation happened 3 days ago on May 29th, 2019. The Accessible Canada Act, Bill C-81, was passed unanimously in the House of Commons. So that's a big deal. This act ensures a barrier-free Canada. Now, the barrier-free Canada is by 2014, but we need to get there way before that. So this is an amazing initiative to be proactive and to be making that happen now. So that supports the full and equal participation of all persons, especially persons with disabilities. This means a Canada without barriers to participating in activities of daily life, whether it's productive activity, volunteer work, self-care, and leisure. It means persons with disabilities no longer have to fight for access and inclusion, and that it will be woven into our system. That's universal access, the way it should be. They're already taking meaningful steps. The Canadian Transportation Agency regulation goals are to create the most accessible transportation system in the world. And part of our initiative has been to reroute the city bus here in Parksville to drop off and pick up right outside of the gym. Because the closest bus stop is up on the highway, and there aren't any sidewalks, and so our concern about safety in the dark and rain especially, but so to have that kind of accessibility here is a big deal. And also, access for all means being able to get through the front door independently. So we're raising funds and grant writing for a power assist door here at the gym. 22% of Canadians over the age of 15 have a disability. And Sandra had done some calculations before based on the 2011 census data in this region. Nearly 2/3, so that's 61% of District 69's population is above the age of 50. And the district's largest group is between 60 and 69. We know that, the ages of 60 and 69. We know that disability increases with age, and a very conservative calculation gives about 7,500 people in District 69 living with a disability. 7,500 people. So exercise, we know, is a key component to maintaining and improving physical, mental, and spiritual health, and in preventing deterioration. And so we're all here today to raise awareness and to raise funds for specialized fitness equipment that is accessible and can address the needs of many in our community. I would like to also acknowledge my former co-chair, Jack Orange, as I mentioned before, and his amazing wife, Hilda. They are the reason that I began this tireless journey about 2.5 years ago with a vision of creating an accessible fitness and wellness center in Oceanside. Jack's given me permission to share a little bit of information about him. Jack had a devastating brainstem stroke. It's been over 10 years ago, and prior to that, he was an active, healthy veterinarian working in the BC Interior. Life changed in a flash, and it has for many of you and your family members, depending on what has happened for you. Jack is a miracle man, and they never expected him to survive. After a couple of years of intensive therapy and hospitalization, they realized that Vancouver Island had a climate that was easier to navigate year-round, so they chose to come here to begin a new life. Finding ways of continuing with rehabilitation and improvement was hard, but they built their own team. Presently, they have to travel at least 45 minutes north to a neurophysio once a week. However, they're not able to maintain the optimal fitness routine during the week because there's no local accessible facility that provides the equipment to support these goals. And I soon met several other people that are sitting in this room that were doing the same thing. So put up your hand if that is your situation, if you'd like to share that. You're traveling far for therapy. Yeah, I see hands right raising up. Okay. And so traveling to therapy costs a lot in time and money, but it's very crucial to maintain. So I began to ask, what about the people that couldn't travel or that didn't have the funds to afford private therapy? What happens if you have a stroke or a heart attack or an accident or you find yourself in a wheelchair? What happens if you have chronic pain or MS or Parkinson's or cancer and you want to prevent further deterioration and improve your strength and balance and prevent falls, but you can't get in the front door of the local gym? Or if you can't maneuver around the equipment in your chair, or you can't transfer onto the equipment, or the environment is too noisy and hyperstimulating? And what happens when your caregiver burns out? So we became advocates and educators in our community. We presented to the town of Pelican Beach, local council, to local service clubs like Lions and Rotary clubs. We engaged the RDN Recreation, and happy to see Reg Nosworthy here. He was on the RDN Recreation Commission. He was a big help in moving things forward for us. The Oceanside Division of Family Practice is a big supporter of our work. So being a presence at the health, and also being a presence at the health and wellness fairs, speaking to support groups like Oceanside Stroke Recovery, and gathering representatives of all ages and abilities. So I want to make sure that I thank all of our dedicated Universal Access Qualicum Beach and Access Oceanside Association team members today. So please raise your hand if you are one of our members. And we have lots of members around the room. And our CUES members as well. We've got lots of them. So without you, none of this could have happened. We'd also like to thank our sponsors who provided food today. We've got Naked Naturals, and thanks to Anne for getting the food here today, so help yourself to the snacks, healthy snacks, as well as Parks West for donating the brochure printing. And thanks to Gloria for getting that done. And again, a huge thanks to Gloria Stewart for leading the recent promotional campaign. So now I'd like to thank those people and organizations who have generously contributed to this vision. And if I've missed someone, please accept my apologies in advance. I'd like to begin with Jim and Kit Miller of Jim's Gym. So in February, Jim reached out to us after hearing about our search for a location and our need for partners to bring an inclusive, welcoming, accessible, supportive fitness and wellness center to Oceanside. And we had many local supporters along the way, but we didn't have a concrete location, and many donation equipments were on hold because of that. So thank you so much, Jim. I'd like you, if you could come up. Certificate of Appreciation in recognition of Jim and Kit Miller of Jim's Gym and your staff, for your support of the Oceanside. Yeah, Kit, come on up here too, Kit. So for your support of the Oceanside Accessible Fitness and Wellness Center Initiative, and awarded at Oceanside Accessibility Week to this day, June the 1st, 2019. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next person I'd like to call forward is Bill Preston. So we'd like to acknowledge Bill and CUES, Welcome Community Education and Wellness Society, for your undying support of this initiative from the beginning. Thank you so much. Next, we'd like to welcome Albert Ruel from Parksville Lions Club.
Albert, it's in the machine.
Yep, there you go. Okay, they'll turn and face that way. You got it. So I've got a certificate here for Albert recognizing he's the president of the Lions Club. Past president of the Lions Club. He's also an Access Oceanside member, and we'd like to recognize the Parksville Lions Club for their donation of $500 towards the fitness equipment. Next, we would like to recognize Jim Bennett from the Rotary Club of Qualicum Beach. They were instrumental and have been instrumental in supporting our outdoor specialized equipment in giving $2,000 towards the Hookah Orthro Cycle, which is a side-by-side accessible bike that will be used throughout both communities. And it's on its way from the Netherlands, I understand, at this moment. So Mike Domes and Naomi Domes have been instrumental in making that project happen, and unfortunately they can't be here today, but we'd like to present this to you on their behalf and on behalf of CUES.
I just really want to say it was the Brian Dome and his family who came and originally presented to our Rotary Club in Qualicum Beach, and then when you came and brought Diane with you, she was a big reason why our club was so supportive of what you're doing. So thank you for this. Congratulations for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'd also like to acknowledge the Nanaimo Hospital Foundation, who has donated $15,000 so far towards the accessible bikes in our community, and those also are part of the Universal Access Qualicum Beach and the CUES projects. So just wanting to acknowledge them today. Next, we also received a Spark BC, which is called Social Planning and Research Council grant of $500 that will be going towards the equipment. And I would now like to acknowledge Sandra Hobson, the co-chair of Access, the chairperson of Access Oceanside. And without Sandra, most of this would not happen. So,
There's where the credit goes.
well, I couldn't be doing this without you, so. Anyway, the other reason I wanted to acknowledge Sandra is because she has put forth a donation from her on her own of $1,000 towards this equipment. And last but not least, I would like to call upon Diana Lamont to come forward. Diana, we would not have the bungee mobility trainer on its way here if it weren't for you. Diana has personally donated $5,000 towards the bungee mobility trainer. And yeah, so it wouldn't be on its way if it weren't for your generous donation. And so I just really want to acknowledge that. And Diana will be giving us telling us about her story a little bit later after Jim presents to us. So Diana?
Oh, that's music. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diana.
Okay, before I pass this on to Jim, I also just need to say thank you to my family, my mom and my dad and my son who are here today, because the last 2.5 years I wouldn't still be standing here if it weren't for their support. And my husband, who's a physician in Qualicum, unfortunately can't be here today, but he also has had my back the whole time. And of course my daughter's in Vancouver. So I just really want to thank my family and the community. Okay, on to Jim. Come on up.
Well, I just wanted to welcome everybody here. I'm very excited to see this kind of a turnout, and also to see the enthusiasm that people have for this. It's, it wasn't so long ago, and in a lot of places I think it's still this way, that the general feeling about weight rooms or gymnasium type facilities like this are the domain of the 25-year-old males, and that nobody else is really welcome or comfortable in these kinds of facilities. We are all trying to change that, because in my opinion, in our opinion here at the gym, it's a much more healthy environment when we have a broad cross-section of the community in the facility. And so that means that it's not just 25-year-old males, it's not just athletes, it's youngsters at 14, 15 years old. We have people in their 90s here and other facilities like this. We have people who are Olympians, we have people who are professional athletes, we also have people who have no desires in the athletic realm, but just want to be healthy and happy, want to be vibrant. And I think that when you walk into a facility like this, and as I said, there are many of them, but when you walk into a facility like this, what you get to see, you get to be inspired by people who are working hard at what they're doing. And it doesn't matter whether they're large or small, young or old, physically athletic or have no athletic intentions. The idea is that seeing everybody working is quite inspiring. It's inspiring for Kit and I and our staff here, and I hope that many of you will feel the same way if you have an opportunity to train here. I think the benefits of health, the health benefits of physical activity have been well stated, but there is a group or a segment of the population that's never felt really comfortable in this kind of environment, and we hope to change that. We hope that, as I said, when people walk in the door here, that they feel like we care that they're here, and that we will support them while they're here, and they will get the benefits that everybody else gets when they become more physically active. So once again, we're excited to have you here, and Kit, Brendan, Craig at the back there, myself, we're all very happy to answer questions that you may have about exercise and also demonstrate, not this one because I haven't seen this in operation yet, but the ones on the floor, and show you how they can be used and how they benefit you. So thank you very much again. Holly just mentioned that the registration procedure here is that we ask you to fill out a form, basically your contact information, and depending on the medical circumstances, an outline of that. If there are specifics that would be better served with a physician's referral, we have forms that are called, it's called PAR-Med-X. PAR is an acronym for Physical Activity Readiness Questionnaire, and the Med-X is obvious, but the idea that we would have the background information that we need in order to guide you safely and productively through an exercise regime. So it's about a 5-minute process in the beginning to register if it was something that you decided that you wanted to do. Okay, just before we start that, I would like to introduce 2 people here who are members of our staff. They also work for JD Athletics. JD Athletics is a personal training outfit that operates here. One is Craig in the back here, waving his hand. And Brendan, who just hit.
No. Brandon's right here.
The reason I wanted to introduce these 2 is that there are some of you who may be interested in one-on-one support program design in the facility, and you'll have a chance to talk to both of them because they'll be showing people different pieces of equipment here.
And Connie too.
Oh, and Connie, I'm sorry. Connie at the back as well. She's another person who does individualized training. Hers is more yoga focused.
Balance.
Yeah, balance. Okay, balance. Okay, this is.
I'm quite in balance, could you?
Yes. Yes. Okay, there's hope and hope for everybody. Okay, so before the end of the day, if you're interested, please take advantage of Connie, Craig, and Brendan with any questions you may have about what they do and how they do that. Okay.
Time for Diana to come up. Diana! Woo!
Hi everyone. It's nice to see so many people out here today. I'm really impressed. As Holly said, my name is Diana Lamont, and I just wanted to give you a bit of background of why I ended up here. I've been very active all my life. I like to be outdoors all the time, and in my 30s I became a deckhand on salmon trawlers off the west coast. And a lot of people say to me, oh, you cooked on the boats. No, the skipper did that. He found the fish and cooked, and I caught the fish and processed them. I did that for 10 years, which was wonderful. But when the fishing industry started to go down the hill in 1989, I thought, well, I better get another career. So I got into healthcare. Over 23 years, I started out as a home support worker, then went to residential care aide, and finally became a nurse. My specialties were geriatric dementia care and palliative care. I liked to work on what they call special care units. They're just basically units that are in full lockdown so people can't get out and hurt themselves. In September of 2013, I went in to give a lady her meds. She was not in a very good mood, and she declined her oral meds, but said that I could change her pain patch. As I was doing that, she looked up at me and said, I love you, Diana, and I woke up on the floor. I didn't see the punch coming at all. She caught me just above my right temple, and now I'm permanently disabled. The first 2 years of my injury, I had extreme tremors. I couldn't walk, I could barely talk, and I had a lot of difficulty swallowing. Gradually, the tremors subsided, and then I thought to myself, I guess it was about a year after I was injured, I thought to myself, you know, you have to deal with this, Diana. So I said, okay, well, I have 3 choices. Number 1, I could kill myself. And being a very logical person, I sat down with a pen and a piece of paper and wrote down all the reasons to kill myself and all the reasons not to. Well, what scared me is the list of reasons to kill myself was a lot longer than the list to not kill myself. That really scared me. My second choice was to curl up in a little ball and cry and go, poor me, until I died. My third choice was to suck it up, Buttercup, and see what life has in store for you next. And the fact that I'm standing here, you all know what I chose. I decided that I would become an advocate for disabled people, or people with different abilities. And so I started with AOA, joined UAQB, and I've done a lot of speeches and media interviews to raise people's awareness of, you know, we may be disabled, but we're still human beings and we're still alive. We're on this side of the daisies. After 5.5 year fight with WorkSafe, they finally accepted my claim, and I decided when I got my partial payment to put my money where my mouth was. So I donated $5,000 to this gym so that we can buy the equipment. They had a demonstration of the equipment in 2017, and I got to use the other version of this, and for the first time since my injury, I got to play balloon volleyball, and the man that was demonstrating the machine said, "Would you like to dance?" And I got to dance, and I believe we have a video of that. But again, I want to thank you all for being here. Anybody's life can change in a heartbeat. And I hope you'll give generously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diana. Okay, it looks like we are ready to do a demonstration. I just noticed that we have a new friend that's come in the door, and I just wanted to acknowledge Tanel Bolt, who I met this morning at the Qualcomm Beach Memorial Golf Course celebration for accessibility and golf accessibility. And yeah, we invited her to come today. Your society is called the
RAD Recreation Adapted Society. So I provide independent access to the outdoors, awareness of accessibility and inclusion in outdoor sport recreation. Kind of becoming indoors in recreation facilities.
And now you're from the interior, BC? Is that where we're
I heard myself in Port Renfrew. That's where I'm headed after this. My board of directors is on Vancouver Island, and I try to facilitate all of BC. I afford to live in Invermere.
Thank you. Thanks. Okay. And I also wanted to acknowledge Michael Briones from PQB News today. So thank you so much for covering us today. Thank you. Okay, let's get Rob Anaka up here to do a demonstration with this wonderful bungee mobility trainer. And this is really my first time and Rob's first time trying this out, because have I told this story yet? I've told it to so many people today, but our machine was supposed to arrive on Wednesday, and after lots of calling and trying to find out where it was, it's still 2 weeks later sitting in the warehouse where it was supposed to be shipped from Ontario. So we borrowed this last night from
What I want you to do, you caught your toe, and now you're having to practice that. Okay. So now let's look up at me. So you have to automatize it.
You're so used to putting that leg over, yeah, that's right.
Right. Great. Yeah. Just a little bit of feather bearing, that's all we need. And now we're not focusing on that upper body, holding you up while you're taking these steps. You're really training your lower extremity.
Probably we're getting these in the bed.
Ask her a question. She said something in this.
Okay.
Just like that. Now,
could you say what you said about how long it's been since you walked like that?
It's been 4 years. Since 4 what? years since I've been able to walk like that. And 4 years since I've been able to dance, rock and roll. All right.
there you go.
And I don't have to worry about falling on my face.
Now, some other things.
Walk backwards.
There you go. Take that step. So now you're really distracted from your partner.
Yes.
That's you catching yourself.
That's
right?
amazing. I'm walking around like there's nothing wrong with it.
There you go. Cool. Wow. Oh. You used to play volleyball?
Actually, I did.
Varsity?
No, never made it that far. It's amazing.
So now, see, notice how much more confident you are in the well.
Really, it's amazing. It's just amazing. And while I was focusing on the balloon, part of me was saying, look at my feet, they're moving and I'm not afraid to fall down.
Exactly, and you weren't consciously saying, okay, now I need to take a step to the side.
No.
Now I need to transfer my weight to this side to prevent the fall. You're doing that all.
Hey, slow down, there's a speed limit in here. Notch out.
So for somebody who has difficulty walking on their own or is unsteady on their feet and they want to practice getting lateral mobility without falling, this completely supports you. And if you lose your balance, what happens if you were to fall off? Just catches you completely, right? So the other thing.
That's the first time I did this. So.
You think you can dance with this? Okay, which way do we? All right, let's see. Let's try the balloon. So we can try some balloon volleyball.
Okay.
So not even having to think about where your feet are, keeping your balance.
That goes sideways.
Yeah, and you can go sideways, and if you stay, depending on if you feel like you want to stand or consider stand and move.
Especially when your legs get tired, this is the perfect thing. When you have issues with balance.
There we go.
Excellent.
All right, awesome. Thank you. So the next piece of equipment that we're wanting to purchase is something called the sit-to-stand machine. And the sit-to-stand machine is...
We said we create unique environments so that people can execute functional tasks over and over. Here's our unique environment. She's in a much more vulnerable position for sit-to-stand. Now, she doesn't understand the command to stand. So, with the added weights, if you'll notice, my right hand is on her shoulder and my left hand is here on the strap, and I'm just tugging just a bit to give her the inclination to stand. So she feels the relief in her hips, and now she doesn't understand the command to sit down, so I'm tugging a bit here, and then I'm pulling a bit and tugging a bit. So you see how I can get her to start doing that functional task over and over and over. And you'll be surprised how quickly they kind of get it after that. And then it's a numbers game. So you try to do how many you can do. You can do 3 sets of 10. You can start experimenting with how many they could do in a minute. So her good hand, her right hand's here. And now, slowly, you'll notice I have my arms here and I'm cueing a bit. Come halfway up and then back down. And they can feel the focus on the affected side. So now this patient walks around, she ambulates just fine, but she's weak on the left side. So we're able to actually do intense functional training on that.
It's excellent for anybody who really has poor strength in their legs, or they're unsteady on their feet, if they're at risk for falls, if they've got poor core strength, if you've been deconditioned or sick for a while, you come in and you work on and you can change the amount of assistance. So it's just practicing sit to stand, and then you can until you're more steady on your feet and your quads are strong, and your hamstrings are strong, and your core is strong. So that's the next machine that we're looking for. We also need a lift to transfer our folks that can't independently transfer. So we'd like to fundraise for, there's a lift here that makes it really easy for one person to safely transfer another person into the piece of equipment. We have a new step trainer, which is like a bicycle, which is a recliner bicycle. There's several people in the room that I know use it, the physio, and I've been requesting it. It's a big ticket item, it's $12,000. So, but it is one of the, I don't know, can anyone speak to using the new trainer, the new step?
It's really useful for strengthening your legs.
For your legs. And is it upper extremity too?
Yeah.
Or just
You
can do your arms.
Yes.
So
And it
imagine
is very much like a sit-down Nordic.
a sit-down Nordic. Okay.
That's a good way to
So you
describe
find it
it.
really helpful.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And Jack. So it uses both sides of the brain, so it's cross-hemispheric activity, and that supports, well, you can tell us what that supports, Jack. I'm going to grab the microphone, because Jack also, no, I'm not going to make it that far. Darn it.
You're on a short court.
Am I? I could probably make it partway.
Meet halfway.
Meet you in the middle, yeah. Get you to spin around that. Okay, Jack's so smart because why? You got a degree in how many degrees? 3 degrees, yeah.
Psychology, neuroanatomy, medicine.
All right, so this is a pretty educated man. So this is why he's telling us the benefits of the new step.
The new step uses both arms and both legs, so both sides of the brain get used to motion.
Thank you. Both sides of the brain get used to the motion, and then you can, and then you're going to be walking in no time.
Maybe a year or so.
All right, sounds good to me. Okay, I'm done talking. Okay, tours of the gym. So Kit and Jim can take you on a tour of the gym. There's food, there's donation bins, there's equipment, draw. Bill.
Sorry. Yeah, so there's, as I'm sure every one of you realize, there's one person that actually didn't get acknowledged and appreciated. And she is our intrepid leader. Yes. Remember the word dynamo? Yeah, she defines dynamo. She has put so much time and energy, and as she said, thanks to her family, because they put up with all of that time away from them to honor her commitment. And it's been difficult at times and challenging at times, but she's always come through. And we really appreciate it. If there's anyone in this room that's moved to contribute, besides the donation part, to being involved and to being part of the committees of AOA or UAQB, if you have a particular talent or skill, secretarial or fundraising, or and we're so thankful to Gloria.
Gloria's just stepped outside.
Yeah, because if you have some background and you can contribute some volunteer time, as Gloria has done, it just makes a huge difference and removes some of the pressure from Holly. And the more we all work together on this thing, we can slay dragons. And we are in the process of doing that. So, Holly, you're my hero.
You're
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Okay, so everyone, enjoy.
So we're here with Adam Walker. Hi Adam.
How are you doing?
Great, great. So you showed up to this wonderful event. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. So can I have some of your comments on what's going on here? And
I just think it's amazing how much is going on in this community that a lot of people don't realize, and I just hope that more people can see all the good work that's going on and benefit from it. We were told that there's 7,500 people potentially in this community that are living with a disability, and the fact that there are good people like these groups that are working towards solutions, I think is a good thing.
Great, great. So did you learn anything new or exciting about this group?
The best thing I learned was an acronym that's called TAP, Temporarily Able Person. And that many of us who don't have a disability, maybe that's not necessarily a lifetime thing that we're going to be living with, and that it's something that everybody needs to be aware of, that this isn't a fringe group, this is something that affects us all.
Great. So you think this kind of information about a facility like this should be given to more people?
100%.
Great, great. Okay. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I just really appreciate being able to be a part of this.
Oh, great. Thanks so much, Adam.
That's been great.